We are so delighted about our next guest. He was here just a little while ago and just blew our socks off. Dr. Willie Jolly. Would you put your hands together for him? Now, I want you to know we have the cream of the crop, the best of the best. He is known as one of the world's most influential speakers. He's received all kinds of awards, and we have him here with us today. Do you remember when the cars, the automobile companies were getting those bailouts? Well, he was one of the ones that was sent in to coach the company that did not receive the bailout. They actually had surplus. I want you to receive Mr. Willie Jolly at this time. Dr. Jolly!
Hey, my sister, well, you know I start the same way. I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can't refuse it.
Come on.
Didn't seek it, didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it, just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are wrapped up in it, and I am grateful for this minute. Come on, somebody.
I love your fire.
Oh yeah, I'm grateful to be here again with you. We've had such a great relationship and friendship, and so I'm grateful to be here and to just share with your global audience about how they can win more, how they can have greater personal and professional and faith success in every part of their lives. That's what we want to help people to do.
And you are doing it. You are making a difference. And I want you to share that testimony.
Well, in 2006, a little company called Ford Motor Company gave me a call.
A little company.
A little company. Ford was on the brink of bankruptcy in 2006. They had gone from 50% market share down to 15%. And they brought in a new CEO named Alan Mulally, brilliant man, who said, we've got to change the culture of this company or we're out of business. I'm grateful that one of their executives had read my book, A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback. They said, we need a comeback. And there's a guy who helps companies come back. So they called me and asked me to work with them. I worked with them in 2006, 2007, and 2008. In 2009, Ford was the only one of the big three automakers to be able to reject a government bailout. They went from losing $1 million a month in 2006 to making $1 billion a month in 2009. Now, did the economy go up between 2006 and 2009? No.
Come on.
What changed? Thinking. When you change your thinking, you'll change your future. Scripture says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that when you change the thinking, then things will start to change all around you. And God gives us the tools to change our thinking.
Yes.
And so as a result of the Ford success, then General Motors called, then Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Cola of South Africa, Prudential of Malaysia, and just one company after another started calling saying, if you can do that for Ford, we want you to come do it for us.
Come on.
So, but I'm very grateful that I am considered one of the top motivational speakers, as you said, but I am a man of faith.
Yes, you are.
I love God.
Yes.
I am a staff minister at the First Baptist Church of Glen Arden under the leadership of John Kenneth Jenkins Sr. We have a great team of ministers and great team of pastors and deacons and folks that I just am honored to serve under. When I'm not speaking on a church on a Sunday or I'm not traveling overseas, I'm at church and just serving any way that I can.
Why do you find it important for you to be involved in your local church when you're big time?
Well, you know, I'm grateful because I've got to grow. Okay, so I've got to grow spiritually as well as physically and mentally, but I've got to be poured into, and I've got a great pastor. He pours into us, and I grow from it, and I have learned from him. So it's important that you tap into a local church. Some people say, well, I don't need to go to church. I'm spiritual. All right, so then I say, you know what? That's a fallacy. You need to be plugged into a local church where you're sitting under the leadership of an anointed teacher, and that way you can grow from that anointing. As my pastor says, the oil drips from the top down the beard, down the sleeve. Drip, drip, baby, drip, drip. You know,
Come on now.
we want to help people to do that. So out of that Ford thing came an Attitude of Excellence, my book. 2 words, attitude and excellence, critical words that we must look at if we're going to have success. And that Attitude of Excellence now is a book that many companies and organizations are now using to encourage and inspire their people. And I want to give everybody here a copy of a chapter from the book. If you'll go to attitudeofexcellence.com. No, in fact, I tell you better than that. Go to wjspeaks.com/Medina.
All right.
How you doing? WJSpeaks.com/Medina. You're going to get a copy, a chapter from my book, An Attitude of Excellence, as well as, you know, my wife and I, we are newlyweds. June 28th, we celebrated 34 years of marriage. Now, people always say, well, how you say you're a newlywed? Because I still got the fire for her. That's how. I tell them publicly and privately, I'd crawl over broken glass to get to that woman. I told her one day, I said, if you leave me, I'm coming with you. Anyway, we've written a book that's gone on to be a popular book for marriage. Make love, make money, make it last.
All
and
right.
we've been married for 34 years, haven't had an argument in over 31 years. And someone said, you've never argued? I said, no. We haven't had an argument in 31 years. Those first couple of years were like World War III. But we learned some principles from some wise teachers. I want everybody to get this lesson. 2 ways to success. Mentors and mistakes. Both will get you there. One just gets you there with less heartaches, and knots upside your head. So you go get some mentors. We got some marriage mentors who helped us to learn how to stop arguing and get to loving. It worked. And now, 34 years later, we have put it in a book, and we want to give everybody a chapter from that book. So that you go to same WJSpeaks.com/Medina, and you can get a chapter from the Attitude of Excellence, as well as a chapter from the Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last.
And it's Medina, not Medea.
That's right. MEDINA.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so, but most of all, what I'm excited about is our new mission, our new movement, our new ministry of sort, that what we want to do is called Jolly Good News.
All right.
Now, let me tell you what it's about. In a time of bad news, sad news, false news, depressing news, we need some good news.
Yes.
We need some good news, and people need good news right now. I was so hurt by the man who went in the office building in Virginia Beach and shot up his co-workers. Why would he do that? Well, he had parents who were church folks. They were deacons in their church. That meant, I know he knew that there was a church, there was a God. What would make this man do that? I realized that he was filled with nothing but bad news. Input determines output. Garbage in, garbage out. Good stuff in, good stuff out. That's one of the reasons you need to go to a church, to make sure you get anointed word. But then you need to continue to fill yourself up with the pure, the powerful, and the positive. You got to fill yourself up with some good news. So what I decided to do was start a movement. And this is a global movement called Jolly Good News. We're going to take it to radio, television, print, and every which way I can to put good news into people. Because, you know, many people, even church people, are living lives of quiet desperation. They're depressed. They're coming to church, but they go home after church, and by midweek they're and what we want to do is give them some resources and some tools and some inspiration that will help them to go up to the next level. So we created this Jolly Good News with a mindset to inspire people that your best is yet to come.
This is something that you shared with our congregation as you were actually working at home in the local church on the altar. Could you share that testimony about the gentleman that you work with there?
Well, you know, there's a guy who was depressed. And he came, and I was an altar counselor that day. When I'm telling you, when I'm at church, I serve like everybody else. I tell them I'm a volunteer like everybody else. Everybody needs to be involved in their local church. Guy came up, he said, I'm depressed. I said, well, let's talk about it. And he talked for a minute. He said, I get up every morning. I said, what do you do? He said, I get up, and I go wash my face, and then I put my clothes on, and I go to work, and I'm depressed. I said, well, you got to change your routine. Let me tell you what I do every day. I'll wake up, my eyes open up, and I say, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I say thank you about 1,000 times. And then I fall out of bed, roll out of bed, fall right on my knees and say, God, thank you. And now protect my family, protect my household, protect me, put a hedge around it, protect my friends. And then I get up, I wash my face and I brush my teeth. And then I do something very unique. I say 10 times to 10 people, good morning. And I say, good morning on my way to the gym. Good morning on my way to get some coffee. Good morning on my way to the airport, wherever. I say, good morning to 10 people. Now, some of the people say nothing back to me. Some of them grunt. Some say, what's good about it? But I say it 10 times. Why? Because faith cometh by hearing. And I've heard 10 times that this is a good morning. You have a good morning, you're on your way to a good afternoon. You have a good morning, good afternoon, you're on your way to a good evening. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, you had a good day. You repeat that day 7 times, you had a good week. You repeat that week 4 times, you had a good month. You repeat that month 12 times, you had a good year. And it starts by saying good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Come on now. Good morning.
I say good morning sometimes about 8 o'clock at night. Good morning. Because believe it or not, as you speak,
Come on.
so shall it be.
Yes.
If you speak good into your life, so it will be good. If you speak bad in your life, so if many people walk around speaking bad in their life, how you doing? Just making it. How you feel? If I hadn't had bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck at all. No, you can't talk like that. When people ask you how you're doing, you say, I am blessed and highly favored. I am giving God the glory. I'm awesome. This is a great day, and everything's going to be all right. I'm telling you. And I believe in everybody who's watching, your best is yet to come.
Oh, yes.
Let me close with my little bit with this. Go again to wjspeaks.com/Medina, M-E-D-I-N-A. I've got all sorts of resources there for you. But let me tell you something changed my life. I was a new speaker. Had no books, no tapes, no radio, no television. Had no credentials to be a speaker. Struggling to keep the lights on, struggling to keep the phones on. It was tough. I'd make sales calls. People say, I don't know who you are. I've never heard of you. Hang up in my face. I wouldn't make any more calls that day because I felt that rejection. Anybody ever got rejected and feel that pain, that kick in the gut? I wouldn't make no calls. Well, a couple of days went by, and I finally got myself together. And I said, okay, I'm going to make some calls. And I started making calls. And the first guy I talked to said, I like the way you're talking. I'm having a meeting. I think you'd be a good speaker. He said, I'll fly you down to Orlando. I'll pay you. He told me how much. I said, okay, great. I went to Orlando. I gave the speech. They gave me a standing ovation. And when I finished, they gave me my check. I was ecstatic. I finished meeting and greeting people and went on back to the airport. Feeling good. Got onto my plane, feeling good. The plane took off. I'm feeling good. I took that check out a second time to get the thrill the second time, but when I looked at it the second time, I got depressed because I realized that money was already allocated. It was gone. Anybody ever got your check before you get home, you know it's gone? I started having a pity party with myself right there at B-22. An older gentleman struck up a conversation with me across the aisle. He said he was a minister. He lectured every day in a different city about health and wealth. I said, you fly every day? He said, yes. I said, you speak every day? He said, yes. And then he said something and asked me a question that changed the trajectory of my future. He said, young man, how old do you think I am? I said, I think you're about maybe 60. He smiled. He took off his glasses. He looked me dead in the eye. He said, young man, I'm 88 years old. I'm 88, and my best is yet to come. In that moment, everything shifted in my head. If an 88-year-old man could have the optimism to believe that his best days were in front of him and not behind him, what did I have to whine and cry and complain about? And I went home with a new attitude, and I got on that phone and started making sales calls. And if people say no, I'd say next. They say, I'm not interested in what you got. I say, thank you, you're not the right one. Well, 25 years have gone by. I've been inducted in the Speaker Hall of Fame. I've been named one of the top 5 speakers in the world. I've been named one of the top 5 leadership speakers. I've been named a legend of the speaking industry. I got best-selling books, television, radio. I've been around the world, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. And I came here to say to you on the Word Network with my friend Medina Pullins, I want to say to everybody, wherever you are, your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet